Good morning. So today we are going to discuss the first topic into the marginal marine or transitional uh, sedimentary environment, and that is the delta. We have already discussed about the marine sedimentary environment, both shallow marine as well as deep marine environment. And into the shallow marine environment, again we have analyzed the shallow marine plastic environment and shallow marine carbonate environment. So in the marginal marine environment or the transitional sedimentary environment, delta is the most important sedimentary environment. Delta is formed by a river at the mouth of a river where it drains into the standing water bodies, into the lake or into the ocean or into the sea. And the term was first time used by Greek philosopher Herodotus, who analyzed the delta formed by the Nile river at its mouth. That shape was a triangular shape, the fourth letter of the Greek alphabet, and that's why Herodotus called that deposition of sediments which was triangular in shape of the Nile river as delta. So delta is basically the deposition of sediments at the mouth of the river which is triangular in shape. The rivers are the most common agent which transport all the sediments from the continental part into the standing water bodies, into lakes or into the oceans. They erode the sediments from the continental part, from the upland region. They transport it. Some of the sediments are being deposited by river within the channel in the form of channel bar deposits, and the rest of our sediments are deposited into the delta. The suspended sediments, they are deposited into the continental shelf and into the continental slope part. So delta is very important, and it is formed at the mouth of a river. There are generally three types of delta. Some delta, because delta is the process where marine processes are operating in the lower part of the delta and fuel processes are operating in the upper part of the delta. There are three types of delta. Number one, the delta in which river processes are dominant, they are known as river dominated delta. The delta in which tidal processes are dominant, they are known as tidal delta. And the third, in which wave processes are dominant, they are known as wave dominated delta. So there are three types of delta: river dominated delta, tide dominated delta, and the wave dominated delta. The river dominated delta, the most important example of river dominated delta in which riverine processes they are playing most important role. The example of the riverine delta is Mississippi. Mississippi is the river of South America. It drains into the Gulf of Mexico, and the delta of Mississippi, which is river dominated, is known as bird foot delta because it looks like a bird foot. That's why it is known as bird foot delta. Rivers form the delta where the sediments which are carried by river into the standing water bodies of ocean or lakes, the marine process they are unable to transport it. Only then the delta will be formed. The shape and size of the delta, that depends on morphology of the mouth of the river, that depends on supply of sediments, and that depends on the marine process. So the first type of delta, that is the river dominated delta, in which the marine process they are very insignificant and the river is playing very important role. The second type of delta is the tide dominated delta. And the example of tide dominated delta is the Ganga Brahmaputra delta. And we all are familiar with this, that the Ganga Brahmaputra delta, that is the largest delta of the world, that is known as Sundarban delta, and the rivers they drain into the Bay of Bengal. This is tide dominated delta. Some other rivers they also form the tide dominated delta, such as the Colorado, and Colorado is very famous. Colorado river of United States that is famous for Grand Canyon, and this Colorado River that also forms the tide dominated delta. So the third type of delta is wave dominated delta, in which the wave process they are dominant, they are significant, they are known as wave dominated delta. The Rhone and Tiber, these two rivers are very important example of wave dominated delta. And Tiber river of Italy is very very famous because generally all the rivers they are considered as mother, whereas the Tiber river of Italy that is considered as father of the Rhone. So there are three types of delta: river dominated delta, the wave dominated delta, and the tide dominated delta. In any delta there are three parts. This is the number one is top set, second is foreset, and the third is bottom set. Top set, foreset, and bottom set. There are three parts in a delta. And if all these three parts are very well developed into a delta, that is the ideal type of delta, and that delta is known as Gilbert type of delta. If all the three components of a delta, top set, foreset, and bottom sets are present, what's happened into a delta that the delta that generally progrades like this, keep on moving, and over a set of time the delta they completely fills, they have capacity to fill the standing water bodies. So delta is prograding, that is building out from the continental part towards the ocean. Deltaic sequences are very well known for coarsening upward sequences. For example, in a river we are having fining upward sequences, whereas into a delta we are having coarsening upward sequences. Why? Because the coarser segment they are deposited at the top, further finer they are deposited at the foreset, and the finest particle deposited they are at the bottom set. And that's why if you move from bottom to the top, fining, further coarser, and the coarsest, it means into a deltaic sequence, or deltaic sequences are characterized by coarsening upwards sequences. Generally, any delta can be classified into a number of sub-environments, but generally three sub-environments are important: top set, foreset, and the bottom set. The top set of a delta is known as delta plane. This is the top set, delta plane or delta top. This is subaerially exposed. If this is a delta, then this part, which is the upper part, subaerially exposed, that is known as delta plane or delta top. Delta plane is again divided into two: upper delta plane and the lower delta plane. Generally, the upper delta plane is the region of a delta above the high water level, and the lower delta plane is the region of top delta between the low water level and the high water level. That is known as lower delta plane. The upper delta plane and the lower delta plane, or the delta plane and the delta top, that is generally characterized by a fluvial system. It means it is characterized by the meandering river system or the fluvial system. That is also characterized by this. This is natural levee, and at its number of places, or at some places, crevasses splay are formed. Splay. We will discuss in detail about the natural levee and crevasses splay. They are the overbank deposits. When the river overtops its bank, that form the natural levee, and if the natural levee is breached, then the crevasses splay are formed. We will discuss into the fluvial system. So the top delta top is basically characterized by the fluvial system, and that shows the natural levee system as well as the crevasse play system. And between the two distributaries, because a number of distributaries are formed which distribute the sediments and the water. So this is one distributary and this is another distributary. And the space between the distributaries, between two distributaries, this space, this is known as interdistributary bay. Interdistributary bay. So all these things, they are the delta plain region, and they basically form the delta top, which is characterized by the low energy environment, and the delta top is also characterized by the brackish water. Brackish water means the water which have salinity more than the river but less than the ocean. So this is about the delta plant. Then the second major sedimentary sub-environment of the delta is the delta front. Delta front is basically, it is the foreset of a delta, and if this is the delta and these are the distributaries, this is the first part and this is the second part, that is the foreset. What happened that the distributaries here, the sediments are deposited at the mouth of every distributary, and these sediments are known as distributary mouth bar. If this distributary is active, this will become inactive, and another distributaries will be active, that will be again inactive because of the formation of DMB, distributary mouth bar. A third lobe will be formed. So activation of lobes and deactivation of lobe is a common process into the delta sequences or into the delta front. Further towards the ocean from this DMB, distributary mouth bar, distal bars are present. Distal bars. All these, the distributary mouth bar and distal bars, they are made up of sand and silt-sized particles, and they are characterized by the presence of ripple marks as well as muddy sediments. So the ripple marks and the muddy sediments, they are responsible for the formation of peri-contemporaneous structure, and they also form the mud diapies. This region are very, very important for growth faults. Growth faults, I have already discussed in one of my lectures, growth faults. These are syn depositional structures which are formed because of the differential subsidence, and the growth faults and the mud diapies, they form very important hydrocarbon tracts, and so they are very, very useful in the hydrocarbon deposits. Further south of or towards the ocean from the delta front is the region of prodelta. Prodelta is the region, if this is the delta, so this is the region of prodelta or the bottom set. And the prodelta and the bottom set, they are characterized by the mud deposits, they are characterized by the clay and silt deposits, and these sediments are very, very fine grained. As soon as they are moving from the delta top, the bottom is the region of finest particle into the deltaic system, and they are either bioturbated or they are laminated, and this region is the very important region of the prodelta where we are getting the finer sediments. Some scientists, they have classified the delta as two, the constructional delta and the destructional delta. Constructional delta, where construction of the sediment is taking place, means river dominated, and destructional delta where delta is being destructed by the wave and the tides. So delta is very important transitional sedimentary environment which shows coarsening upward sequences and in which progrades towards the ocean. So it is characterized by coarsening upward as well as progradational sequences. Thank you and good luck to all of you. In the next lecture, we will discuss the tidal bundles or the tidal deposits. That is also very important deposits, and then we will move into the continental environment. Thank you and good luck to all of you. If there is any query or any question, you are most welcome. You may ask. Okay, good luck.